This video is created for entertainment and storytelling purposes only. The stories feature may be fictional, inspired, adapted, or dramatized. Any resemblance to real persons or events is purely coincidental. This channel is not about harassment, violence, or illegal activities. Viewer discretion is advised.
The night I signed the document, I thought I was saving my family. Instead, I erased myself. My name is Noah. And at 18 years old, I learned that the most dangerous thing in a family is not hate. It's trust. It started with a fire. Not metaphorical. A real one. Our house burned down in under 20 minutes. By morning, we had nothing but ash, insurance forms, and relatives suddenly very interested in our future. That's when my aunt showed up. Polished shoes. Perfect smile. And a folder in her hand. She said, "You don't need stress right now. Let me handle everything." My mother cried when she said it. I didn't. Because something about her voice felt rehearsed. Within a week, she moved us into a rental she found. Within 2 weeks, she was handling insurance claims. Within 3 weeks, she was handling our money. And we weren't asking anymore. We were just accepting. Because grief makes people obedient. Then came the document. One evening, she placed it on the kitchen table. "Just sign here so I can release the insurance funds faster." My mother hesitated. My aunt smiled. "You don't want delays, do you?" We didn't. So we signed. Me too, because I thought family couldn't steal from family. That was my first mistake. 2 days later, I noticed something strange. The insurance money never arrived. But my aunt bought a new car. Cash. No loan. No explanation. When I asked my mother, she said, she's probably using her own savings. But I saw the look in her eyes. She didn't believe it either. She just didn't want to admit it. That night, I went through the folder again. The one we signed. And that's when I saw it. Hidden in legal language so deep most people would never notice. We hadn't signed for help. We had signed over authority. Not temporary. Permanent. She could legally control compensation. Our accounts. Even our identity verification process for claims. We hadn't been helped. We had been transferred. I felt sick. But instead of confronting her, I stayed silent. Because I needed to understand how far it went. And more importantly, why she needed it. So I started watching her. Closely. And what I found didn't make sense. She wasn't just spending money. She was moving it. Across multiple accounts. Different names. Different cities. Different businesses, like she was hiding something massive under layers of paperwork. And then I found it. A second insurance claim. For another family. Same fire. Same company. Same signature style. But that family didn't survive. That was the moment everything changed. This wasn't greed. It was a system. And we weren't the first victims. We were just the next line. I went to my mother that night. I showed her everything. Her hands shook. She whispered, "No." She said it was just paperwork. But even as she said it, she knew. She had been tricked too. For the first time, we didn't argue. We planned. Quietly. Carefully. Because you don't fight someone like that loudly. You trap them. Over the next 2 weeks, I acted normal. I signed every small document she gave me. I smiled when she visited. I thanked her, and every time I did, she trusted me a little more. That was exactly what I wanted. Meanwhile, I started rebuilding everything she thought was buried. I contacted the original insurance investigator. I gathered duplicate records. I recovered deleted emails from an old backup my father had set up before he died. And that's when I found the real truth. My father didn't die in an accident. He was investigating her. And the fire wasn't random. Now I had something bigger than evidence. I had motive, pattern, and history. But exposing her wasn't enough. I needed her to confess in a way she couldn't undo. So I created a situation. A fake payout alert. A message saying, "Large insurance settlement approved." Final verification required in person. And I signed it using her own system credentials. Because she taught me something important without realizing it. Every system has a door. And every door has a user who gets careless. She showed up the next morning. Confident. Relaxed. Smiling. She walked into the office thinking she was collecting money. Instead, she walked into a room with 3 people she didn't recognize. Insurance fraud investigators. And me. She stopped smiling immediately. "What is this?" she asked. I stood up. Calm. For the first time in months. "This is where you stop rewriting other people's lives." She turned to my mother. "Tell him this is a misunderstanding." My mother didn't move. That silence was her answer. Then the investigator played the audio. Recovered emails. Financial trails. Signed documents. And finally, the fire report. The one that wasn't supposed to exist anymore. Her face changed slowly. Not fear at first. Anger. Then panic. Then realization. She wasn't getting out of it. She looked at me and said quietly, "You think you won?" I didn't answer immediately. Because that question deserves respect. Then I said, "No. You taught me how systems work. I just used yours better." She was arrested that day. No dramatic chase. No shouting. Just consequences arriving late but certain. After she was taken away, my mother sat in the empty office for a long time. Then she finally said, "I should have seen it." I replied, "You did see it. You just didn't believe it." Months later, everything was corrected. Accounts restored. Claims reopened. Other families contacted. The system she built collapsed piece by piece. Slow. Unavoidable. Clean. But here's the part nobody talks about. Revenge doesn't feel like victory at first. It feels like silence. Like standing in a room where chaos used to live. And realizing you don't have to survive it anymore. One evening, my mother asked me, "Do you regret it? Everything you did?" I thought about it. Then said, "I don't regret stopping her. I regret that I had to learn how." So if someone ever hands you a document and says just sign here, remember this: some signatures don't approve your future. They replace it.